I think of the whole thing as an hour-long four-dimensional drawing. A drawing that expands in space and in time. The Head and the Load is a performance piece, and it's a piece which looks at Africa in the First World War. The first shots fired in anger in the First World War were in Africa, and the war ended in Africa 2 weeks after the armistice. So it's about a war in which the war was carried on people's heads. And so if one wants an image of a colonial burden, one thinks of a machine gun and a cannon and even a ship carried on the heads of one person, 200, 300, 1,000 people. In 1913, Sol Plaatje compiled a book of Tswana proverbs and aphorisms. And the head and the load are the troubles of the neck is one of those proverbs. And obviously the load that the head is carrying is both the physical load of what had to be carried in the war by the carrier corps, but it's also the historical load, the psychic load, all of those loads that are on all of our heads. We work with models of the set, so this is a model of the 50 meters of the set with different projections that we can test out the projections, if not the performances. This is a kind of a list of different, from old cash book pages, which may or may not get used in the final piece, to maps that started off as military maps but then get swallowed by different bits of barbed wire. And this is a slowly growing list of the dead. It's a kind of a list of all the names that weren't recorded, of the African soldiers and carriers who died. And as you have here in cause of death, most of them are from disease. I think for each person who died in battle, 30 died of disease. What I hadn't realized was that, until we started really, was how much thinking about the First World War inevitably led to broader questions about colonialism. South Africa at the moment, the questions of decolonizing the universities, the country, the mines, the curricula, is a very contemporary question. So even though this is in fact looking at the First World War, the interest in it is not divorced from what's happening now. I think, with all projects, if you have a clear message, that's a good reason to stop the work before you begin. It has to do with opening, with the process of making the work, opening questions rather than hoping to find an answer. So the sort of connections which are made between war, the specific war, and the nature of colonialism in Africa is one of the things that's emerged in the process. So the piece is open enough to look at all of these different elements.